The adoption of Dele Farotimi in Lagos by the Nigerian police force all the way to Ekiti continue to spark a lot of reaction. We brought to you in the last three video about the incidents which occurred yesterday towards evening. And this conversation will not cease to end very soon in Nigeria as many continue to condemn the behavior of the Nigerian police as well as Babalola SAN who instigated all of these. But in order to understand further, let's watch exactly what Reuben Abati of Arise TV and Rufai said about these whole shenanigans by the law enforcement agency and some Nigerian politicians who delight in using the Nigerian law enforcement agency to intimidate fellow Nigerians.
Section 373 of the Criminal Code deals with defamation. What is defamation? When you expose another individual to ridicule, to hatred, or you lower the person's estimation, integrity in the eyes of members of the public. So to that extent, in other words, we're saying that nobody has a right to defame or libel the other person. That's what the law says. The law, however, says that there is defense. If you are speaking out of public interest, if there is justification to say that you are saying the truth, in other words, it's not automatic that when you are accused of libel, you will be punished for it. Now, there's been some argument whether it's a criminal offense or it's a civil wrong. Well, in Nigerian laws, a civil wrong can also be a criminal offense, particularly if it leads to a breach of peace. In the Aviomo case, determined by Justice Ogunwomoji, which has been quoted in the last 2 days, what he says is that in Lagos State and Edo State, defamation is not considered a criminal offense. But where it can become a criminal offense is when it leads to breach of public peace and violence. But in this specific case, which the Mazi Afamusigwe SAN, had to intervene, we were told that the policemen went to Dele Farotimi's law firm and disrupted the work of the lawyers, and that even one lawyer was rough-handled in the place. Now, the MDA president and MDA as a body has to stand up to ensure that people do not just keep going to people's law firms and harassing people all over the place. So Mazi Afamusigwe is to that extent right. And then the second thing is that we were told that Dele Farotimi was abducted. It was in a gangster-like, operation that he was picked up. So there are persons who have said he was not arrested, he was abducted. Because if they want to arrest him, he's a lawyer, they will have invited him. Even if he's a lawyer, he's not a lawyer, he will have been invited. And he said about a week ago, he was at the Zone 2 police headquarters, where he was presented with two different allegations, one by the chairman of United Bank for Africa, the other by Chief Afe Babalola SAN. Now going to abduct him, coming from Ekiti Police Command to come and abduct somebody in Lagos. The question that the Nigerian police force will have to explain to us is whether that is standard police operating procedure. So it's the untidiness of it that is also part of the problem. The Lagos Police Command could have apprehended him if that needed to be done, and they could have handed over to the appropriate jurisdiction, not to go and abduct somebody from his office. And the Ekiti Police Command, they even had the courage to come and say that they came to Lagos to take him, and they were taking him to Ekiti Police Command.
7 hours journey.
It's a law enforcement. The police is a law enforcement body. They should not be seen to be lawless. Finally, whatever the matter is, I don't think Dele Farotimi will be afraid of them. He's a lawyer. He will get his own lawyers, and he will meet them in court. His rights must be respected. So that if you accuse a man of defamation does not mean that the man is a convict per se.
Yeah.
He has a line of defenses open to him. Truth, public policy, justification, and all of that. And absence of malice. Once he can prove that he's not speaking out of malice and that he's speaking in public interest. So nobody should think that because they are highly placed, they can intimidate anybody. And no lawyer is afraid of going to court.
No
you
lawyer
cannot intimidate him with a
Ayo,
lawsuit.
you know, he had written.
My eye and I see for my country power show. Everywhere, every corner, everybody they do power show. Power show. Fela also sang another song. Zombie, oh zombie, zombie, oh zombie. Zombie no go come unless you tell them to come, zombie. Those songs are very apt today concerning the case of Dele Farotimi. And for all that thought Dele Farotimi was very strict and very stern in his words when he will come here and said there was nothing as a Nigerian citizen, Dele has been proven right today. Dele, take your flowers because you were correct. Because like Dele will say, Nigerian citizens don't have rights. Their rights are trampled upon. It's just about one big man not liking your face. They'll tell the police, and the police will run along. But the same police that comes to meet us, to defend them. I remember my boss, I admire so much, Prince Uduka Baegbana, talking about the story of a guy top there in military intelligence and the role he did to track down journalists. He said one night he saw somebody in his Frank Omenka. He saw somebody in his kitchen, and the same Frank Omenka that was violating them now became the Frank Omenka that was running for help. You see, those I really want to talk about. Thank you for all of those that have commented and speaking up Dele Farotimi. Those that I pity the most are the slaves that are going everywhere to say, good for him, because he's talking for justice, good for him. You see, I will just remind them, as a Yoruba saying, that the cane that was used to beat the last wife is still there waiting.
The senior wife.
The senior wife is still there waiting for all of us. All of us will chop that cane one day, and you will see how brutal the Nigerian state can be. So don't worry, keep abusing him. No. You can never be as great as the soul of Dele Farotimi's feet.
Yes, I really.
So what do you think about what Rufai and Abati said about this whole thing? Abati has made us to understand what defamation is all about and why they should not be intimidating anyone. What do you make of all of this? Let's have this conversation in the comment section. Thank you for watching.
Exertion in the Supreme Court.
Because why you should not be surprised is because the people in leadership are not elected by the people. People criminally find their ways to corridors of power. And they stay there and continue to perpetuate criminality.